Hey Shlomi, thank you so much for your time. How are you?
Doing great, Eitan. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, it's a pleasure to having here. I know you're leading uh, really amazing activities around e-commerce from Bangkok, but throughout the region. So this is going to be like an episode focused on probably Asia, Thailand, Bangkok e-commerce. I think it's will provide great knowledge for our listeners to understand what's happening in the region, and also to get to know you better and what do you do, right, with e-commerce. So let's start with a quick introduction about yourself.
Sure. Sounds good. Yeah, so I'm Shlomi. I've been here for around 12 years now, in Thailand specifically, but I've been working all across the region. Currently, I'm the head of business development and partnership at aCommerce Group. aCommerce is an e-commerce enabler. It's a basically a business model which is very unique to Southeast Asia. We don't see it that much, in North America or in Europe. It's essentially an end-to-end e-commerce solution, right? That allows brands to go online and without having to actually hire the people or do everything in-house. They basically just outsource everything to us, everything from the web store development, whether it's on Marketplace, brand.com, into the store management, marketing, graphic design, logistics, customer service, you name it. Basically, everything is happening here in-house. And so we have 8 logistics centers. We are across 5 countries: Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Philippines. Right now, we have around 1,000 employees all across the region, right? So the team is definitely growing. Um, yeah, apart from that, e-commerce is on its way for an IPO sometimes
Mhm.
in the near future. So yeah, the largest e-commerce enabler in Southeast Asia, also the first, actually founded in 2013 by Paul Sivorakul. He was the first one that kind of started that category. Him and a few other founders.
Nice. And I visited you about a few weeks back, right, in your offices. And it's not just, I mean, you do like build up of platforms. You do a lot of work around data, right, and marketing automation and getting all the insights and provide some. I'd love to learn more about that as well in terms of your data processing and insight and intelligence part of the business. But also you have physical location where you have those studios, right, where people can go live with live shopping, and you work with like major KOLs and brands in the region. So tell us more about that part of the business.
Yeah, of course, with pleasure. So yeah, we have also a very heavy technology part of the business,
Mhm.
apart from the services, which is really focused around uh, building, whether it's B2B e-commerce platforms, infrastructure, APIs, right? Whatever entails kind of around whatever the brand needs in order to be able to operate, online and offline. We do a lot of O2O activation as well. We've built apps, we build marketplaces, right? Front end, back end, right? We have the capability to do everything here. Apart from that, we also have our platform is called Market Insights. Market Insights is a very unique offering, really, in the region. We basically go to the major marketplaces such as Shopee, Lazada, Tokopedia, that kind of cover the most of the e-commerce market when it comes to marketplaces, and we collect publicly available data directly from their website. And basically, what it allows our partners is to monitor what their competitors are doing. Right. So if I'm Nike and I want to know what ASICs are doing, you can have direct access to their total GMV sales, average selling price, units sold, top selling products, price elasticity, promotions, really everything you want to know about your competitors. So it's a market intelligence platform, and it's really been an amazing product for us, really. I mean, e-commerce is getting more competitive, and people are on the lookout for whatever gives them a competitive advantage. And of
Yeah,
course, knowing what your competition is doing is probably the biggest advantage you can find out there, right? If
yes.
you know what kind of products your competitors are selling and what's the price point, and essentially how many they have in their inventory. That's the level we can get to, right?
Wow.
Then you're getting to a point where you're always going to be one step ahead, or maybe if you're good, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead.
I mean, data is in foundation of everything these days, right? Definitely
Yeah.
for e-commerce. I mean, it's so crucial, so critical. So
Yeah.
tell us what's going on in the region in terms of maybe market size, some volumes. What are the interesting countries? Some growth rates. Give our listeners some more in-depth information about e-commerce in the region.
Sure, sure. So if we're focusing on Southeast Asia as a whole, right? Southeast Asia being Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, right, and Indonesia, right? Those are kind of the main countries where
Hmm.
e-commerce is really prominent. The market grew from around $99 billion in 2022 to 114 billion in 2023, right? So a healthy growth, right,
Hmm.
like around 15 billion USD, and there are multiple reasons of why that happened, and I can go down that route and kind of discuss that part. Generally speaking, Indonesia is the largest contributor to that, right? Indonesia accounts for around 53 billion out of that 114, right? So it's just the sheer scale of how many people they have over there, right? Kind of gives you an idea of what's the size of that market, right? So they contribute to, yeah, again, like around 50% out of all of that. The second in line is Thailand. And Indonesia, by the way, grew ever so slightly between 2023 and 2022 and 2023, around 3.7%. Apart from that, you have Thailand that right now accounts for around 19.3%. It was a 14.4 market in 2022. So that's actually a very healthy growth.
Yeah,
It's the second in line as a size overall, and actually grew by around 34% year over year. So that's very healthy. And then you have Vietnam. Now, Vietnam has been the hype market for a while. I'm sure you heard about it. If you're
hmm,
traveling or working in Southeast Asia or interested in e-commerce in Southeast Asia, Vietnam is it's kind of where everybody see the next kind of white space where you can actually grow a lot. And it did grow by around 52%, from around 9 billion to 13.8 billion. Vietnam has its own challenges with infrastructure and so on and so forth, right? So it's really the foundation that is missing there to really take it to the next level, which will
hmm,
take a few years. That big growth is a result of pretty low starting point last year, so it really blew up. uh,
exactly.
Trends shift and anything can happen. I mean, it's now the it market where everybody's kind of looking at, but definitely Thailand is the one that everybody gonna be looking at in the next few months.
Yes. So
um
Okay, sorry.
yeah, please go ahead.
Well, what happened in Thailand that triggers this 30+% growth?
Yeah, it's a combination of really buzzing tech scene, right? So there are a lot of technology going on here. The economy did not get hit as much as they thought after COVID-19 and after all the turbulent few years that they had here. Tourism kept flowing in, right? Retail spending kept growing, and also debt per household. That is a different issue that's going to definitely come back to bite them later on. But the GDP per capita grew, right? So the market is developing, the market is maturing. I know you've been to Bangkok a number of times and you've seen the city. It's very conducive for trade, right? So it became that. Um, Social commerce and live commerce have been a huge part of it, right? In Thailand, out of the whole 19.3 billion market, around 21% of it belongs to TikTok.
Mhm.
And TikTok being a predominantly kind of live social commerce platform, kind of really helped that grow. The only country actually that had a bigger contribution when it comes to TikTok is Vietnam, which is 24%. So we can
Mhm.
really see the live commerce behind kind of the big drive of growth for these two countries, right? People are kind of enjoying the shoppertainment
Yeah.
part of e-commerce. So and it's growing, right? I mean, I think I shared it with you that at aCommerce we launched a reality TV show
Mhm.
here in Thailand with a huge kind of entertainment channel. where they have different live commerce KOLs competing for who is the best KOL. And it's a show, and people are sitting there and products are being sold, and there's an uplift in sales for all our partners that are involved in the project. So that's another kind of really big contributor to what happened in the last kind of 6 months, 8 months or so, or even a year and a half, when it comes to where it really, really started, when TikTok really blew up.
Yes. And just to mention that TikTok, we talk about the regular TikTok, but there's also TikTok Shop is available in Thailand as well, correct?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So TikTok made a move and kind of understood, hey, I have all this traffic. How do I monetize? Right. Well, what do I do? Right. What direction do I go? Should I keep the Facebook lane and just play social media? Facebook tried Facebook Shop, didn't really work out for them that well. Instagram Shop has a bit of interest in, but really North America, not really in our area. But they basically went and hired a ton of people from Shopee, Lazada, brought them
Yeah.
in, and decided to build a marketplace.
So,
Took a lot of notes from what Shopee did and Lazada did well and did not do so well, and came in as ByteDance does. Came in really aggressive and just started investing. No commission fees, free delivery,
wow.
you name it, co-marketing
Yes.
investments.
Providing
Try to get
incentive to brands and creators. Yeah.
heavy incentives, affiliate programs, threw everything they had on the wall, and whatever stuck, they scaled. Right,
Mhm.
basically, that's how they moved, and that's really what helped them grow so fast.
Yeah. I mean, I just researched some reports, before our interview today. And specifically, you mentioned social commerce.
Mhm.
In one of the reports, it seems that the highest number of social commerce buyers in the world, right, is going to be in Thailand, right? Like social commerce is growing exponentially in the next few years. 1.3 trillion all over the world, 2023, growing to 6.2 trillion in 2030. But Thailand is going to be number one country in terms of actual buyers who are buying on social commerce. I mean, how do you explain this?
Well, I think there are a lot of ways to explain this. I think it has to do with the fact, it has to do with the cultural thing, like even chat commerce. When you talk about chat commerce, is huge in Thailand. I'm not sure if during your visits you had a chance to download Line, which is their WhatsApp,
Yeah.
right? The messaging platform. The amount of commerce that goes online on
Mhm.
the Line app is enormous, right? In fact, it's not measurable because they don't use payment gateways. They just do bank transfers, right? And
Mhm.
just basically transact in that fashion. The amount of transactions that are happening on Facebook, but on actually the Facebook Messenger, and not necessarily on a Facebook shop. And basically just do a bank transfer and sending you the receipt. Hey, I paid, and
Mhm.
then just send me the product. It's enormous, right? And
Wow.
again, we don't really have a way to measure that, but we know that how big it is. So all the numbers that you've seen is actually maybe with some estimations of those type of transactions. So I think it's a cultural thing here, that they trust each other in that fashion. They will buy things, pre-order stuff online, which is very kind of cultural thing. If you trust the seller, if you're predispositioned to trust a seller or you're predispositioned to not so, then you will not transact in such fashion. But
Mhm.
definitely something that we see here that is very, very big. Apart from that, I think again, when it comes to a lot of what's been popular recently, the Thai cultural, the soft influence of the Thai cultural across the region has grown, right? For
Mhm.
many reasons, whether it's different KOLs that became popular elsewhere, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot to do with the fact that they are becoming more and more popular. Thai products are becoming more and more popular. People are trusting more of Thai products. Thai celebrities are sponsoring more products, and I think by and large, the biggest reason why is this happening is the beauty industry, the
Mhm.
beauty category in specific. So if we, look at 6 years ago, most of the big beauty brands were really kind of Japanese brands with a bit of Korean. and then the tides shift, and now it's kind of Korean mainly, and a bit of Japanese,
Hmm.
and then a bit of European, a bit of North American here and there. The L'Oreal's, the Estée Lauder, of course. Um, but now you see a lot of homegrown Thai local brands that are doing extremely well online, and those are D2C, digital first, digital native brands
Hmm.
that don't have an offline um, store. They just do online, and this is all they know. And they grew up in that way, and they know how to do affiliates, and they know how to do UGC, or user generated content in a very very high level.
Hmm.
They basically mastered that online space, and they are able to grow exponentially because of that, right?
Yes.
Very very fast.
So if you're a local brand, what's the best way for you to grow? I mean, is it growing on your own .com, going to other marketplaces or social commerce? Maybe you can just give us a quick update about the key players probably in the region.
Sure. If you're a local brand, and whether you're just getting started or you already have some sort of a presence here, you really want to start with putting yourself first on TikTok, because TikTok is, in a way, also a marketing platform, right? Just your ability to create content, whether it's through, again, UGC, affiliates, KOLs, and to be able to get that level of traffic exposure to your brand, it's huge, right?
Hmm.
That's something that, again, the marketplaces, the more traditional ones being Shopee and Lazada, really can't compete with. To Shopee and Lazada, you have to drive traffic in order for you to get exposure, right? I think I sat down with TikTok and I told them that, and that was like 2 years ago. And I thought that, in my opinion, their biggest differentiator would be that if people are standing in the lift and that people do it, or, across Southeast Asia, they do it, they take out their phone, the chances they're going to take it out and go to Shopee and Lazada is slim, but they
Yeah.
will go to TikTok because they're looking for entertainment, right? And then while they're looking for entertainment, TikTok has done a great job in really optimizing their algorithm to show you enough content. So they will show you UGC, and then maybe a live stream, and then it will direct you to actually shop, right?
Hmm.
So because it has this entertainment thing, people are gonna visit TikTok 5, 6 times per day versus Shopee. Well, they do it like maybe once or twice a week, right? Because it has an entertainment factor. So definitely TikTok will be the first one. And then the second and third would be the marketplaces, being Shopee and then Lazada. It depends on where you are. You might even want to do Tokopedia, because
Hmm.
Tokopedia is bigger. For example, if you're in Indonesia, so you do want to put yourself on Tokopedia. Tokopedia and TikTok actually merged earlier this year, and so now it's kind of the same entity. We can
Hmm.
get into that as well, but you definitely want to put yourself on those two marketplaces, because this will give you the biggest exposure, right? When it comes to consumers, right? And your ability to actually put your products in front of people.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and those are really the three platforms that you want to start with. Brand.com and offline are not huge. I mean, offline is obviously enormous, but brand.com is not huge. And it has to do with the maturation of the consumer behavior. We've
Hmm.
seen the same thing in North America in the past, where it was really an Amazon market. And then, with the years, consumers kind of got tired of the whole marketplace experience and really wanted to have some deeper connection with the brand. We're looking for more benefits that are more targeted and customized to me. Then, with the emergence of Shopify, that's exactly what happened. And then Shopify grew so much that Amazon had to acknowledge them and allow, Prime checkouts on Shopify.
Yeah.
And Shopify, in return, trying to go down the value chain, when they purchased a logistics partner, now is using FBA,
Hmm.
right? So this is not, we're not there, in Southeast Asia. But if we're looking at North America like a crystal ball of what the future of e-commerce in Southeast Asia can be. So brand.com is something which is now way more affordable, that you can actually set it up, and it will be a great home for your consumers, where you can really develop LTV, so lifetime value, by using more CRM, more email marketing, return purchases, right? Your CAC, cost per acquisition, will
Hmm.
drop significantly, while in Shopee and Lazada, you're more of renting the space, other than really getting the consumer to stay with you. right?
Sure.
So brand.com is still not as prominent here.
Yeah. So you must launch on TikTok, on those marketplaces, Shopee, Lazada, Wikipedia, right? And what do you do there, at that stage in terms of how do you initiate, customer acquisition activities? Is it like more, is it organic? Is still viable methodology, or it's more on the paid media? What are the tactics that are working these?
Yeah. So mainly, if we're talking about TikTok, you can definitely get a lot done with organic,
Mm-hmm.
right? And organic or semi-organic, I always call it semi-organic because you can work with different KOLs and different affiliates, right, to get to create content for you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you post it, and that creates more traffic to your store. People buy more and more, and then you will get more visibility. So the algorithm will essentially reward you. Um, so you can definitely do it in that way. You can also use TikTok ads, right? Basically boosting your videos, and then you can also maybe invest a bit into live commerce, right? It's very easy to do live from TikTok. You
Mm-hmm.
can go live essentially from anywhere from your phone. If you're a brand and you have a bit of a budget in hand, so definitely put it into some live, right? Create some content, then edit it, create like 25 short form videos, post it, and get kind of the ROI going on from kind of continuously using or recycling the same
Mm-hmm.
content created. So that's, the first step. You will definitely need some media spend, for to drive more traffic. Facebook and Instagram are still very big here and will still drive a lot of traffic to your site, right? Whether it's on Shopee, on Lazada, or even TikTok, right? So you can use have a technology called CPaaS, which is basically using Facebook and Instagram to drive traffic to your store on Shopee,
Mm-hmm.
Lazada, or TikTok, or even Tokopedia. So you definitely need media spend there. But really, what you want to lean heavily on is on KOLs and affiliates here. That's been really something that's emergent recently. Affiliate, you can find all these different KOLs that fit your brand in one way or another, and they will take 15% from every sale that they make. Right? It
Mm-hmm.
depends on the nature of your product. If it's a product that you can actually send to the KOL to sample, to show, to present, then it's easier. If you're an electronics brand, it's a bit more difficult because you have to move the product from one place to another.
Sure.
So it depends on the nature. But it has to be an omnipresent, omni-channel. I know everybody always talking about it. Strategy. You have to have paid traffic. You have to have organic. You have to have multiple channels because people have different consumer behavior, and they prefer different channels. So
Yeah.
luckily, to open the store is not very expensive. They do take commission. It depends on the level of engagement you have with each one of them. And then it's really about investing into demand generation, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
top funnel, middle funnel, or bottom funnel.
Yeah. So it seems like the video is in the center of everything, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Video is in the center of everything. I mean,
Yeah.
you can imagine, like, yeah, and I think just as well as I do. Like, video converts more, right? It's just it's a bit more difficult to create, but if you create content which is evergreen and can last you a season or 2 seasons, depends on your
Mm-hmm.
products, then the ROI is substantially higher, right? I think all numbers show it on almost any platform, whether it's YouTube ads, which is growing, bigger and bigger, especially now that YouTube allows to integrate more products to the shelf, and you can actually check out from YouTube. That's enormous. But yeah, 100% video is something that is substantially stronger and stronger here. Yeah, you have some display ads and things of that sort that are still kind of it's
Yeah.
here. It's not hugely used, and definitely not bottom funnel. It's kind of top funnel, more of kind of activity.
Yeah. So you mentioned working with the KOLs, which is kind of a very important, strategic.
Mm.
How the process works? I mean, those KOLs we post their videos on their own channels, or there's a redirect back to the TikTok shop of the brands. What are the promotional activities around that beyond the UGC itself?
Yeah. So basically, if you're a brand and you already have your own store, right, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on Shopee, um, you can work with the KOL to either broadcast or do live or post the content on your store on your account, on their account, on or
Hmm.
both of your accounts. It really depends on the strategy and how you want to design the overall look and feel of your account on TikTok, right? And most of the time, you will have folks like us that will help connect you with the right KOL. We have our tools in which we can kind of understand what are the top keywords that are used by this KOL, that what are the followers, or who are the followers that
Hmm.
he or she has, what kind of products are they buying, are they more into beauty, what's the demographics, what the geographics, everything you want to know about their followers in order to make sure there's a perfect match for the brand. And then really it's a bit more flexible there. If you choose to post it on yours, on theirs, it's
Hmm.
a bit more, as you put a bit more production value to it, or is it something that you want to keep it more organic, on their studio, or on their kind of backdrop. It depends on that. But we bring a lot of the KOLs over here to our live studio offices, as you saw on your visit,
Hmm.
and they do the live commerce straight from here. So we have in-house KOLs, so a lot of them will be kind of working specifically with us, and also we have a service in which we can pull any KOL that matches the description that you need. We also do the vetting, and we also do the analytics. So when the KOL says something, what is the level of engagement? Is it higher? Is it lower? Bring more conversions? What's the sentiment? Right. So it really gets down to the details of, as you said at the beginning, data.
Yeah. And brands can, I mean, they're just working with aCommerce, and aCommerce just providing them this entire suite of services, right? I mean, identifying the KOL, working on this various scripting, and getting the
Yeah.
data analytic, and try to figure out what's working and what's not, and obviously execute the transaction.
Yeah.
Great. And specifically for, I mean, if we took the perspective of an international brand, let's say US brand, for our listeners from the US who are very interested in the region, right, and want to start their activities in the region, you have you have like the same recommendation like for local time, or what are the best practices for a new brand to just start working in the region?
Yeah. So that's a great question. I think it depends on what's the product you're about to bring in, and
Hmm.
also where you're coming from. So it's interesting. Every country has an index of how friendly they are for international brands, right? Um, um, Singapore, for example, it's actually the number one in the world,
Yeah.
right, when it comes to international brand. Indonesia is a bit less so. I think Indonesia is 80th. Um, Thailand is 63rd in the world when it comes to this kind of specific index. Malaysia is around 30, and so that kind of gives you a first indication, just pure regulation, right? How difficult will it be for you to bring the product in?
Yeah.
So now, if you have a product that requires like heavy FDA and all types of regulation, you need to think about that part, first and foremost. Second, you need to think about, what's your category, right? Like, yeah, if your category is beauty, then you need to think about what's the size of the prize in each country, right? So where is the beauty category, really prominent, right? Where can I really find success? You have countries like Philippines where, yeah, beauty is big, right? But it's not as big as much as it is, for example, in Indonesia, even compared to the rest of the categories,
Hmm.
or even in Thailand, right? So you need to think about the category and how does it fit, product market fit, all these kind of stuff. Those are stuff that you have to do 100%. And then you have to think about price point, right? Price point, the market that I'm going to in Southeast Asia, are they spending this amount of money on the product that I'm bringing, right? So what's the spend per capita? For example, Singapore and Malaysia has the highest spend per capita in the region. Um, in Asia, I think except from Taiwan, that
Hmm.
has higher spend per capita. But that's one indicator for you to know if you're a bit on the premium level, right? Then you need to take that into consideration. If you are a bit more on the affordable side, right, then Indonesia that has a relatively low spend per capita, and lowest is even in the Philippines, right? They don't spend that much. They're not used to spending that much. They will go for the
Hmm.
affordable options, way more frequent. Then you go for kind of the premiumization of your brand. Are people charmed by your culture, for example? So I can tell you that US brands have more chances of entering Philippines because the Philippines are way more charmed by the American culture.
Yeah.
American brands are doing historically very well over there, whether it's Pepsi or Nike, right? You name it, they're doing very well over there because the Philippines are more connected to that area of the world. If you're a Japanese brand, you have more chances in Indonesia. If you're Korean, you have more chances, for example, in Thailand,
Hmm.
right? So it depends also the country over region, right? And then of course you have to think about kind of what the competitors, what's available in the market, right? If it's already saturated, if it's already a red ocean, then you need to understand like, am I really bringing something different here,
Yeah.
right? And that's kind of the last point. When you have all this data, you do all the pros and cons, and you can decide, which country should you go. I always recommend to brands to start in a single country, right? And that they have the most, obviously not opportunity in terms of category size. I usually tell brands to ignore category size for a second. As long as you have something to take there, just aim for that. But really look into product market fit, spend per capita, competition, right? Things of that sort. That will give you a way better chances of doing the market entry the way it should.
Hmm. Hmm. And those, let's say, mid-sized brand who already been successful in their own countries and want to start activities in the region, is it recommended to work with a local partner or to try to do things by themselves? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it depends if they have, if for example they're in the US or in Canada or anywhere else, right? If they have anyone on the ground, they might want to try to do it themselves, especially in the initial stages. Depends on
Hmm.
the size and if they can handle it. If they can bring the products into Southeast Asia, meaning the products in being imported, they're on the ground, and you have a person on the ground, you might want to go hire X Shopee, X Lazada to set up the stores for you. They will know how to do the kind of in-store
Hmm.
marketing. You might want to, if you have, marketing teams in your region country, outsource that work to them because really it's not that different. Just localize the content. Depends. This is why, for example, Singapore is so easy because everything can stay in English. So if you're coming from the US or from Canada, first of all, it's the most hospitable country when it comes to market entry. It's not the cheapest, but it's very easy to get through regulations, right? They're
Hmm.
very clear, they're very straightforward, and then you don't have to really, localize any content. Whatever content you have in the US and Canada, just bring it in, post it. They all can speak very English very well. It's their language there. So it really depends on the brand situation. If they're coming in here and say, oh, I want to kind of I want to bring a single person, or even not even that, I just want to operate from far away, then you will need people to be here on the ground. You will need someone to be your entity of your MOR, the merchant of
Hmm.
record, because essentially you can't sell unless you have an entity in that said country and you own that wallet within that marketplace, right? Which we do, for example, for our partners when they cannot sell direct to consumers because of policy, because
Hmm.
whatever other reason they have, then we are the merchant of record in that case. So we actually
Yeah.
purchase the inventory from them and then resell it on the platforms.
Yes. Yes. Interesting. And so we talked a lot about the beauty category, obviously. What
Right.
other categories are interesting that are growing in the region?
Yeah. So I think electronics, obviously, when in the wide sense of the word, is always been big here, right? Whether it's smartphones, smartwatches, but even household appliances has been something that has really been growing here, and you'll saw a lot of regional players trying to kind of grow the level of business here and kind of what they can do. Everything that has to do with FMCG, right, has always been big here, whether it's CPG or even groceries,
Hmm.
right? It's getting bigger and bigger in Southeast Asia. Fashion, right? It's always been big, especially in Indonesia, right? It's a big category. People buy more fashion now online. Either they go try it at the store, or they're familiar with the brand and they will go ahead and try it on, or they buy a bunch of accessories, whether it's bags, whether it's things of that sort. So those are really kind of the main
Yeah.
categories that are very strong here. Fashion, including of course sportswear and leisure wear, like the whole kind of range of products.
Yes. Yes. So Shlomi, it seems that you've been doing this for many years, and obviously you're very expert in e-commerce and specifically in marketing. And I know you also ran a marketing agency.
Yeah.
Why you are so excited about this industry, about this market? What's keep you awake and so passionate about it?
Well, I think it's very dynamic, right? That's what's really nice about it. Like things change all the time. If in 2022 we thought that the status quo is going to be what it is, now we can tell that it's actually changing and it's being disrupted again and again, and it's about to be disrupted again by AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're still yet to see, what how AI is going to influence our your retail, right? Not
Yeah.
just us, retail. So I think I mentioned to you when you were here last time, we just launched an AI product as part of our market insights platform that allows you to query data in a natural language. But we're working with different partners, for example, for offline retail AI products where you can simply ask your mobile phone a question, and it will after collecting all the data from the store, it will tell you, okay, you probably should go for this Lenovo product or this Apple
Mhm.
product, and that makes the retail employee much smarter. So there are
Nice.
just so many things that are yet to be changed, right, within this industry, that is really dynamic. You wake up to different news all the time and things keep happening, and for us it's all about adapting, making sure that we keep innovating, that we keep pushing the envelope when it comes to the kind of services that we provide, and really doing the best we can for our partners, because at the end of the day, that's kind of what motivates us.
Yeah.
So for me, it just feels great to sit down with a partner and they go, look at, we're doing like a MBR, so monthly business reviews, and I'll sit down with the partners and I'll go, all right, our business grew by X percentage. Of course, not everything is rosy. You have categories that sometimes are taking a step back for whatever reason, and then it changes all the time. But seeing success, it's something which is great. Launching product, launching services, which is something we did very well at aCommerce.
Yeah. Nice. And you mentioned the retailers. What about let's talk a little bit about this category. How are they utilizing, the digital asset, or even, their asset overall, with retail media getting so big in the US? But what's happening with retailers in the region?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think what retailers woke up, the reality they are waking up now to is that, essentially the biggest marketplaces, maybe like Shopee, Lazada, TikTok, has been really eating their lunch when it comes to, the available
Yeah.
GMV and sales online. And similar to what happened, you nailed it, what happened in North America, where Walmart suddenly went, oh, I'm actually as big, if not bigger than Amazon. I can do the same thing. I just need to kind of adjust my strategy, right? And as a matter of fact, I have even more opportunities because I have all these offline outlets, right? That I can do logistics from, that I can do O2O from, which Amazon did not have. I know they ventured it into slightly, but they would not get to a Walmart
Mhm.
level, right? Which is in every corner. So retailers here are now going into what we call a 3P marketplace transformation, right? So basically what it means, 1P is a retailer purchasing the inventory, owning the inventory from Samsung, and then going out and selling it or reselling it on their own website. A 3P or a third party mean a third party inventory or a third party seller. So I'm a retailer, right? I'm Costco. If we take examples here, I'm Home Pro. I'm Fair Price in Singapore. I have my own website. Now I'm allowing you to register as a seller and come sell your goods on my website. I will
Mhm.
take percentage out of your sales, and we're both happy. You have a new channel to sell on. You can utilize my data for retail media, as you said correctly, and I can increase my assortment. I
Yeah.
can reduce my liability on buying inventory, so much substantially less asset heavy and less risky for me as an operator. And then on top of that, those retailers will go, okay, now I can actually sell you the retail media spots, which you just talked about. And if you think about it, Amazon and all those kind of online retailers will not have been even profitable without retail media.
Yeah.
That's the highest profit margin business because everybody wants to take media spend. Like if you think about the biggest companies in the world, whether it's Google or Meta, their business is marketing, it's media spend because
Yeah.
it's the highest, cleanest margin you can take, right? So they're going, okay, not only that, I don't have to hold any inventory, I increase my assortment. I bring all these great brands to add products to my offerings, I take a cut of that, but I'm also selling you all these awesome, retail media ad placements, whether it's a search, whether it's, you know, uh, a banner, right?
Mhm.
I'm making money there as well. It's a win-win. It's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
So we're behind a lot of that push as well. So we're already converting quite a few marketplaces, sorry, retailers to become a 3P marketplace, and also a retail media enabled
Yeah. That
marketplace. Yeah.
that's a big transaction, right? From managing physical stores to becoming kind of a right digital advertising engine,
Yeah.
right? And obviously, that's we see in the US. You mentioned, of course, Walmart and Amazon. I mean, they are currently controlling the majority of the business around that. And you see the other retailers. I mean, it's slow. I mean, it takes
Mhm.
time for them to evolve. And right, and I'm sure you've been involved as e-commerce with many of these opportunities here there in the region. And it's also great for the brands, right? Because they are getting this first-party data, which is,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to get, to get from other platforms as well.
Exactly. And for e-commerce, really, I mean, it's, as I said, like North America is a crystal ball for us. So we're really riding on the shoulders of giants in this case, right? We saw what Walmart did. We saw, what they did well and what they did wrong. And we adjust kind of the
Mhm.
strategies that we offer the retailers here. Like, hey, they tried this. Maybe you should avoid it at least. So we have a very solid strategy by now on how to transform yourself into a 3P retailer. Yeah, I mean, still a lot to learn, still a lot to grow, right? But I think this is a really big wake up call, right, for all the retailers in Southeast Asia, and we see it. We see it now. There's way more interest in that kind of business model, and that will provide some sort of a better offering of channels across the region, both for brands and consumers. And it's going to be more of a vertical marketplace as well. Maybe one more point about this part is that what you see is that those Shopee, Lazada, TikTok, they're horizontal. They'll sell whichever category you have. But
Mhm.
what we really see is the success of of vertical marketplaces and retailers. I can give you an excellent example: Convi. So Convi is a vertical marketplace. It's a retailer in Thailand, and they did an amazing job in really dominating that kind of personal and beauty category,
Mhm.
right? They're really focused on kind of health, beauty, personal care, skincare, and it's a great platform, great customer experience, really focused on technology and customer experience, right? And this is kind of how they build their business, and that's a vertical. Home Pro, which is kind of the equivalent for Home Depot in the US, right? As another player that is now going 3P. You have multiple, even Central, which is an is a big department store here. It's the
Mhm.
biggest in Thailand. Fair Price in Singapore, which is a semi kind of pro bono, I guess, company that trying to give really low prices for some of the product, mostly groceries. That is a 3P enabled now. So a lot of great examples, and it's only gonna grow for sure.
Nice. Tell me how people can find you in e-commerce.
Oh, you can visit acommerce.asia. That's our website. You can learn more about e-commerce there. On LinkedIn, you can look for e-commerce. We have around 80,000 followers right now on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And myself, my name is, you'll find a lot of Shlomi Cohens on LinkedIn. I can guarantee you that, but not a lot of them are living in Bangkok. So
No.
if anyone's looking for me specifically, they can reach out on LinkedIn or send us an email and I'll reach out back to them.
Great. Anything else you want to add, Shlomi?
No, I'm excited. I think there's a lot of opportunities also for brands from the US to come into Southeast Asia. It's a
Mhm.
very hot market right now, especially with, like China is eyeing Southeast Asia because of the whole situation with the US and kind of the trade tariffs and all these kind of different concerns that they have. Japan is eyeing Southeast Asia, and a lot of brands are trying to make a market
Yeah.
entry. Korea, so there is a rush to Southeast Asia. So I invite everyone that's listening to really learn more about the market. If they are interested to know more, they can also always reach out to me, and I'm happy to kind of advise and give some notes, right, about what they really want to do and kind of the initial strategy. But yeah, it's a great region. It's a great place to be in, and aCommerce is a huge part of it.
Yes, great, Shlomi. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.